I have decided to do this to myself. For you guys, I'm sure you'll enjoy this. Hopefully. Oh wow, I should never do that again. Killing children and having trials was populated by the very, very popular Danganronpa, and today, as well as many other times I'm sure, I will be going over each of the class trials for Danganronpa. So that includes Danganronpa 1, 2, and V3 of course, and I'm going to be going over them in a new light, because obviously everyone knows what Danganronpa is now, right? I mean, come on, we all know who kills who, so I just wanted to go a bit more in depth with it. Owie.
So I guess there's no question that the kitchen knife was the murder weapon. But where does that get us?
Makoto must have taken it from the kitchen, right? He did it in secret when nobody was in the dining hall.
No, that's wrong! Okay, wait, hold on. I didn't take the knife from the kitchen.
Next you're gonna say you're not the killer, right? Go ahead and say it all you want.
Well, what if I have a witness? What do you think, Hina?
Huh?
Just to be perfectly clear, the knife disappeared while you were in the dining hall, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
And at any point while you were there, did you ever see me come into the dining hall?
No, he definitely wasn't there.
The knife disappeared while Hina was in the dining hall. But I wasn't there the entire time. In other words, there's no way I could have taken the knife.
Okay, then what about this? What if the idiot swimmer girl and Makoto are in on it together, and lying to protect—
Oh, and more importantly, why would I get involved in something like that?
Speaking of which, I'd like to ask the bear, if there is an accomplice, do they also become blackened?
So you ask, and so I shall answer. Each murder is allowed to have an accomplice, but only the one who does the killing will get to graduate.
I will still contest to the fact that the most annoying thing about these class trials is the fact that they have to go over the same thing over and over again. They have to kind of just clarify the same thing, like, oh, so no people can work together, but what if they did work together, but they didn't work together? Like, Monokuma even makes mention of that. They do that a lot throughout all of the class trials, and it is so annoying. Fun for me.
Oops, did I say that out loud?
Anyway, I didn't go to the dining hall. And I didn't take the knife, so I'm not the killer.
Okay, so then, who did take the knife? Hina seems the obvious candidate. After all, she just said she was in the dining hall. No way! I swear—
Sure, but can you or anyone else prove that? I can.
That's right. Sakura was with me the entire time I was drinking my tea.
I hate to have to ask, but just to be sure, Sakura's...
Me.
Right.
But then, couldn't either one of them have grabbed the knife?
Actually, no. Because, well...
Just spit it out already.
I stayed in Hina's room last night.
I got so scared thanks to those creepy videos. I wasn't really thinking, I just asked her to stay over. Which means we had dining hall. And then later, she wound up dead.
He shook, boy, he shook.
I got it! Then, Sayaka is the one who took the knife?
That's the only possibility. And thinking back on it, she was acting kind of unusual. When she came into the dining hall, she didn't even look at us. She just went straight to the kitchen. As she left, she said she just wanted a drink of water. But most likely...
The person who took the knife was the victim herself.
I'm sure she just took it for self-defense.
So you're saying the knife she took was then taken from her, and she was killed with it? In that case, you may not have taken the knife, but you still could have killed her.
What?
See? He did do it after all.
No, you're wrong.
So, that's how you would twist the argument and send us all off in the wrong...
Hold on. It's still too early to decide conclusively that Makoto is the killer, wouldn't you say? Because you see, if the room did belong to the killer, then they did something most bewildering. And until we unravel that little mystery, you simply can't declare that he's the killer.
Bewildering? What the hell are you talking about?
Something was missing from the scene of the crime that by all rights should have been there. You know what I'm talking about, don't you?
It's hair.
Now I understand. That's right. There wasn't a single hair on the floor.
So, the culprit removed some evidence?
Yes. And if I were the culprit, why would I need to get rid of all the hair in my own room? It wouldn't be unusual at all to find my hair at the crime scene if the crime scene is in my room.
The reason all the hair was gone was to remove any trace that Sayaka had ever been there. That makes sense, does it not?
No. If that were the case, they would have had to do something about the body itself, not just her hair.
Yes, very true, very true.
I love
Okay,
this.
then why wasn't there any hair on the ground?
The killer got rid of it all, of course, to remove any trace that they had ever been there.
Wait, then that means...
Precisely. It's simply beyond reason to believe that the room's owner and the killer are one and the same.
Then, Makoto isn't the—
Are you sure we can decide something?
No. There are other reasons that prove why Makoto couldn't have done it.
I would like to hear these reasons.
Do you remember anything remarkable about the bathroom at the scene? Sayaka was attacked in the main room first, then fled into the bathroom, right?
Yeah, then they ran after her, got into the bathroom, and stabbed her.
And how did the killer get into the bathroom? Did they have any trouble with it?
What do you mean?
It's fairly certain that the killer had some trouble getting into the bathroom. There was clear evidence left behind. Do you remember?
It's the...
Evidence that the killer had trouble getting into the bathroom. You're talking about the doorknob, right?
Huh? The doorknob? What doorknob?
The doorknob for my bathroom. It was completely broken. See how the top part was unscrewed? And the doorknob's about ready to fall off?
Oh yeah, true. But what does it mean?
In trying to bypass the lock, they ended up nearly removing the entire doorknob. This is another most bewildering act for the room's owner. It proves Makoto is beyond suspicion.
So what? You're saying he wouldn't break the door in his own room? But if the only choice you have is to break it, you break it. There's nothing bewildering about it.
You still don't see? Okay then. Let's take another look at how the incident unfolded. Hopefully that will help you understand.
Bewildering act. Yeah, because the doors don't lock in the men's bathrooms. Let me do that.
The incident took place in Makoto's room. Sayaka was first attacked in the main room. She then fled into the bathroom.
Then a killer ran after her. And they got into the bathroom.
At that point, the killer had to try and bust down the door, because Sayaka had locked it.
No, that's wrong.
She hadn't locked it.
The reason my bathroom didn't open wasn't because it was locked. After all, the girls' rooms are the only ones with locking bathrooms, right?
Yes, now that you mention it, that is true.
Then why didn't your bathroom door open?
Because it was stuck.
Huh? What are you talking about?
My bathroom door doesn't fit in the frame quite right. Monokuma over there can testify to that.
Yup, true as true can be. But you know, you're supposed to be the ultimate lucky student, right? But to have such a cruddy door. That's not lucky at all.
The crime set place.
I got it! The killer must not have realized that it was my room.
What? Are you saying the culprit didn't even know where he was? That's inconceivable!
And yet, he's absolutely right.
Say what?
Well, to be more specific, what the killer didn't know was that Makoto and Sayaka had switched rooms, which is what led to the misunderstanding about the bathroom. If Sayaka had been in her own room, then
there would have been a lock on the door, and they would have had to break through.
So they had no idea how unnecessary their actions were.
ultimately, we can't know if it came open by force or simply by accident. But the killer must have been considerably confused, with no idea how.
Regardless, it was a pointless act. Wasting time trying to break down a door that wasn't locked is...
Definitely something I wouldn't do, since I would have known exactly why it wasn't opening, right?
That is a definite possibility.
So the killer would have to be someone who didn't know they'd switched rooms?
Then Makoto couldn't have done it.
Oh, thanks.
Okay, then who did do it?
I'm sorry, but I give up. Quit.
Then there's this whole section in the trial where you get to this bit where basically you find out that Maizono was lying to you and that she wanted to get you in trouble for the murder and blame everything on you, and I just think that's a load of bull because I fell in love with the character, and then after this trial obviously I had a very different opinion of her, but it's just the way that they kind of announce it. It's just like, oh, you know, you should have noticed this now again. Like, when you look back, I guess, yeah, she was acting suspicious, but like not to the extent that the class trial made it out to be anyway.
That the locks are all unpickable.
Fine. How about this? The killer got in the easy way. They could have knocked and said they wanted to talk or something, and Miss Maizono just...
No.
Oh!
I got it! Because Sayaka was already scared, remember? That's why she asked me to switch rooms in the first place. Knowing what she'd been through, I just can't believe she would have opened the door for anyone.
What if her being scared was a lie?
Huh? Well, what the hell is that supposed to mean? Why would she lie about something like that?
I know you don't want to consider it, but look at this and tell me. Can you still deny the possibility?
That's something I want to talk to you about. Just us two in 5 minutes. Come see me in my room. Ooh.
I found a notepad during my search, and I shaded in the top sheet with a pencil. And these are the words that appeared.
Oh man! I've totally seen people do that on detective shows.
And I should also mention, I found the notepad on the desk in Makoto's room.
Huh?
Which means only someone who had been in Makoto's room before the incident could have written it.
Then either it was Makoto...
So, Makoto,
Sometimes it honestly feels like no one else paid attention to the case apart from Naegi and Kirigiri. Did anyone else ever kind of get that feeling?
A perfectly legible signature. Sayaka's signature.
Yeah.
But why? Why would she write that?
The note was likely her way of getting in touch with a certain someone. She must have slid it under their door to let them know she wanted to meet with them in secret.
If you got an invitation like that from the ultimate pop sensation, what young man could resist?
Of course, I'm only into 2D, so it wouldn't have any effect on me.
But can we be sure anyone even got this note? And honestly, even if they did, I do not think they are at all involved in what happened. Huh? What makes you say that? Would you like to hear? Very well then. Pay attention.
God. Storm nameplates, yes.
Sayaka and Makoto switched rooms, correct? But in the note, the place they were asked to come to, it specifically says, my room. I see. So if someone read that note, then they would have gone to Sayaka's room. Exactly. The room that Makoto was staying.
No, that's wrong.
See, I'm good at this
shit.
shit.
Mai and Sayaka's rooms got switched.
They got switched?
Yes.
That's right. The nameplates got switched, just like the rooms themselves. As a result, the nameplate on Sayaka's room actually had Makoto's name. And the nameplate on Makoto's room had Sayaka's.
So what you're saying is, the room Sayaka was staying in was actually marked as her room.
Then, if someone did do what the note said, they would end up at Makoto's room where Sayaka was.
Plus, their rooms are right next to each other, so switching the nameplates would be no problem. And the one who switched the names was... Well, of course it wasn't you, right, Makoto?
Obviously not.
Right. Okay, then who did it?
Oh yeah, it was Sayaka.
I got it! Me and Sayaka were the only ones who ever knew about us switching rooms. So the only other person besides me who would even know to switch the nameplates was Sayaka.
You can also infer as much from her note. She specifically tells the reader to check the nameplate. She would only have written that if she knew the nameplates had been switched.
But why would she switch them in the first place?
She wanted someone to come to the room she was in, and also hide the fact that it was Makoto's room.
What?
Inviting someone to your room, but not telling them you'd switched rooms. Why would anyone do that?
To understand that, we first need to understand what happened after she invited the person into the room. That's where the answer lies.
What happened then was probably whoever she invited over came in and attacked her. We figured it out! We know who did it! Whoever she invited over is the culprit!
But we still don't know who it is, you goddamn...
Sayaka fought with her killer there in the room, yes? Perhaps the answer to our previous question lies in that initial struggle.
Yes, I think you're right.
Then... we just have to figure out what happened during the fight.
That reminds me. There was...
Oh yeah.
Sayaka suggested I should hold on to it. I thought it might come in handy if I had to defend myself. It seems pretty likely that the killer used it to break Sayaka's right wrist.
How the hell could you possibly know that's what broke her wrist?
I got it! All you have to do is take a good look at her broken wrist, and it should become pretty clear. Right there where her wrist is all swollen. There's something glittery there. See?
Is that gold?
It sure is. Specifically, the gold coating from the replica sword. You barely have to touch that stuff, and it'll stick right to you. And there's some on her wrist because...
I got it! Because she got hit with the sword! Right there on her wrist!
I see.
Alright, then it's about time to solve this mystery. When the fighting broke out, the culprit grabbed the sword, and that's when the first blow was the sword-based sneak attack.
No, that's wrong.
I did it!
Actually, no. I don't think the fight started with the sword.
Why not?
Because the sword's sheath had been scratched. See? There's a gash in it. Like someone cut into it with something sharp.
Something sharp? You mean like the kitchen knife? That was the only sharp thing found at the scene.
Stop jumping ahead! Slow down and explain it so I get what the hell's going on.
If the sword was used first, there wouldn't be any explanation for the scratch on the sheath. If you were going to attack with the sword, you'd take it out of the sheath first, right?
That's true. With the sheath on, it'd be heavy and bulky and useless as shit.
Okay, so how did the sheath get damaged?
If they got attacked with the kitchen knife, maybe they grabbed the sword as a defensive impulse. In that situation, there wouldn't be any time to actually unsheath the sword.
Yeah.
So you're saying the sword was initially used to defend against an attack from the knife?
Which means whoever had the kitchen knife was the one who attacked first.
I think I get it! So here's how it all played out. The culprit came in, found the kitchen knife hidden, then they took the knife, so she grabbed the sword to defend her, then, after—
Sorry, but I don't think Sayaka used the sword to defend herself.
What? How?
Because she never held the sword at all. There's a certain part of her body that makes this—
You're talking about her palms, right? The palms of her hands were perfectly clean, so I don't think she ever picked up the sword.
How can you know that just by looking at her palms?
Like I said before, the gold coating on that sword comes right off. All you have to do is touch it. In fact, if you look, you'll notice that a lot of the gold has already come off the handle. It's safe to assume that's because whoever used the sword got some of it on their hands. There's really no way she could have picked it up and come away completely clean.
Maybe she washed her hands after she escaped into the bathroom.
Sorry, but I don't think so.
Why do you say that? Is it because—
No, that's not it at all. I got it! According to the Monokuma file, Sayaka's time of death was around 1:30 a.m. In other words, at nighttime. And the water in the bathroom shuts off at nighttime.
Oh, I didn't know that. Actually, I haven't taken a shower here yet.
Oh my.
You're no different! You smell like a big fat ugly donkey!
I'm not sure whether to take that as an insult or a compliment.
An insult, obviously.
So anyway, if Sayaka never touched the sword, then that means the killer is the only one who used the sword. But hold on. If that's right, then the one who damaged the sheep—
Sayaka? She had the kitchen knife?
But we already said that the attack started with—
The person with the knife attacked first, and the sword was used as an impromptu defense.
Then the one who attacked first was—
Sayaka?
Now do you understand? She wasn't a blameless victim in this.
No, far from it. It's almost as if she'd been planning to commit a murder of her own. She took the knife from the kitchen, then invited the culprit to the room she was staying in. And if it's true that she had the kitchen knife and attacked without provocation—
Indeed. These are all the actions of an assailant.
Which brings up another point. Makoto, Sayaka was the one who suggested you two switch rooms, correct? Maybe the reason she wanted to switch rooms was so that she could pin the crime on you. That is a possibility, is it not?
Sayaka wanted to— on me?
That would also explain why she would switch the nameplates. She wanted to get whoever she had targeted to come to Makoto's room where she was staying. And by committing the murder there, instead of her room, that would implicate Makoto. But for that to work, the target had to be lured out while still keeping the room swap a secret. If the target knew she had switched rooms, they would have become suspicious right away.
So all that's why she switched the names?
But doesn't that plan seem a little risky? For one thing, even if her plan worked, Mr. Naegi would just tell everyone they'd switched rooms.
I don't know. I'm not sure our soft-hearted Makoto is capable of that kind of cutthroat behavior. I'm sure Sayaka realized the same thing, which is why out of all of us, she asked him to switch rooms.
Plus, she was the ultimate pop sensation. A totally forgettable kid. Or a national superstar. Who are you more likely to believe?
Wait, then you're saying she had this all planned out?
Holy shit!
But in the end, her plan backfired. She launched her attack with the knife, then found herself under attack in turn. That must be when her wrist got broken, and she was forced to drop the knife.
She looks as dead as I
Tables
feel.
were suddenly turned on her, and she died at the hands of the one she'd planned to murder.
Just hold on! That can't be true! Because...
Hey! You guys have totally derailed the argument. You're being super boring right now. Come on, hurry up and decide who did it. Wouldn't it be awful if I had to punish you all just because you ran out of time?
Oh yeah, we gotta decide who we think did it.
Makoto, right now you just need to concentrate on figuring out the answer to this mystery. If we can't uncover who murdered Sayaka, it's over for all of us.
It's easy just to say, hey, decide who did it. But there just aren't any more clues, right?
no, that's wrong! There still might be one clue left. Sayaka's dying message.
Dining? Wait, what did you say?
The dying message. She wrote something on the wall behind her. 11037.
Well, before we get too far into that, I need to ask, can we really be sure that Sayaka is the one who wrote it?
I got it! Her left index finger had blood on it. That could only be because she used that finger to write the message.
I see. She broke her right wrist during the fight, so she'd have to use her left hand to write.
Sure, I think we can all agree Sayaka wrote it. But still, what the heck do those numbers mean?
Hey, Chihiro. You're a computer nerd.
No, that's not...
Of course. It's because they're not numbers.
Oh, yeah, it looks like...
Huh? What?
No, it's just... Don't these first two, 1-1, look less like two numbers and more like one letter?
Ah, you're right. The connecting line is barely there, so I assumed it was 1-1, but looking at it now, you could also read it as an N.
Whoa, you might...
But even if that...
Rotate the image 108.
Oh my god. Now I see.
Huh? So, whose name did she write?
Yes, my favorite part.
Here's my answer. The key to solving this mystery was simply to rotate the writing 180 degrees. If you turn the message around, it becomes the letters L-E-O-N. L-E-O-N. Or more accurately, Leon.
What the hell are you talking about? It's just a coincidence. It's just a bunch of random squiggles that happen to look like my name.
No, it's not random at all. She wrote that message on the wall behind her as she was leaning up against it. In that position, she couldn't move to write normally, and had to write upside down, as it were. And as a result, when you look at it standing in front of her, it ends up getting flipped. Try it for yourself if you want. Write something sitting like her, and the letters will be inverted.
That sounds like one hell of a stretch to me. I'm the killer? You can't just go and say shit like that.
If you're not the killer, then why did you try to destroy the evidence?
Huh?
You know what I'm talking about, right, Makoto?
You mean the burnt shirt piece I found laying on the ground by the incinerator, right?
As the killers stabbed Sayaka, they must have gotten some of her blood on them. And to dispose of the shirt covered in the victim's blood, they threw it into the incinerator.
But one piece burned off and got left behind.
And the killer didn't notice. If they had, they most certainly would have panicked. Isn't that right, Leon?
But is one scrap of fabric enough to conclude that Leon is guilty?
Yeah, I mean, Leon's not the only one wearing a white button-up.
That's right! There are plenty of other people here with shirts like mine. With just that one little charred piece, there's no way you can say for sure who it belongs to.
You're right. That alone isn't enough. But there are some other points that may reveal the truth.
Are you finally starting to understand? The answers to all the riddles are right here.
Yeah, I think so. I got it! If you look closely at how the shirt was disposed of, we should be able to figure out who the killer is.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. I think I know what you're gonna say. You can't reach the incinerator without opening the gate in front of the trash room, right? And obviously, you wouldn't be able to hit the switch to turn it on either. You'd need the key to get in, and the one with the key was the person on cleaning duty. So the killer had to be whoever was in charge of taking care of the trash, right?
Interesting.
Alright, let's prove this boy wrong. Let's go. Yeah.
The key to the trash room. Whoever was on cleaning duty must have had it, right?
So the only one who could get to the person in charge of the...
And you'd have to get
Close to the incinerator in order to destroy the evidence.
No, that's wrong.
Yeah.
Hold on. I think I know how someone could dispose of the evidence without using the trash room key.
But if you can't get past the gate, you couldn't possibly turn on the incinerator, could you?
Yes, you could. If you used this.
What is it, some kind of glass ball? It's busted to hell.
Actually, it was supposed to be a crystal ball, but,
But how would you use it?
I got it! The killer simply took aim at the incinerator switch and threw the ball through a gap in the gate. All they had to do was hit that switch, and the incinerator would come to life.
Someone threw that through a gap in the gate?
Remember what you said before, Hifumi?
He honestly looks like he's having Nam flashbacks.
Hifumi had the keys, so the only way the incinerator could have been turned on without his knowledge was because the killer was able to hit the switch without opening the gate. Once they'd gotten the incinerator going, all they had to do was ball up the shirt and toss it in.
Hey, come on! What the hell is this?
All you have to do is look at the scene to know that the killer never actually went inside the trash room. The shards of broken glass, the incinerator left running, the piece of shirt that escaped the fire. If the killer had been on cleaning duty, the evidence would have been taken care of much more thoroughly.
Wait, no, just hold on.
But the distance from the gate to the incinerator has to be at least 30 feet, right? The pinpoint accuracy you'd need to throw a glass ball that far and hit something that small. Could someone really do that?
That's right. There's no way. It'd be impossible.
Difficult, absolutely. Impossible? I don't think so. Because the killer is... I got it!
There we go.
Because the killer is the ultimate baseball star. Isn't that right, Leon?
Do you have any idea how stupid you sound right now?
A target 30 feet away would surely be little challenge for the ultimate baseball star.
You can't be serious. I'm not the killer! These goddamn shepherd brains have got it all wrong, I'm telling you!
It's not like I wanted to cut out Leon's execution, by the way. I just simply forgot to record the execution, and that's why you can't see it here. But hey ho, at least I tried.